Greetings and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Run, and today we're playing as Lazarus. We got off to a very good start here with the Book of Shadows, which has to be one of the best books in the game, and whenever you find it, at least on a daily run, you just get excited, because you know with this item, you can not only play the blood banks and kind of increase your chance to get certain really good items like the Ivy Bag, or just get a lot more coins and consumables, but you can also bet on using this item to avoid damage against hard rooms or maybe against hard bosses, which you normally wouldn't be able to. It's also very good in boss rush, because you can kind of repeatedly use it, and especially with an orbital, it does allow you to clear enemies and bosses in a very fast speed without actually endangering yourself. Something that not a lot of people realize in Isaac, that when you take damage, at least when you're maybe a bit more experienced in the game, it's sometimes, it's due to negligence, maybe you're not focused enough or whatever, but most of the time it's just because the rooms are hard, or maybe the bosses are hard in a different layout, or maybe the build that you have just isn't suited to deal with certain types of enemies, and those enemies will usually kind of make you struggle a lot. So let me give an example. Let's say you're going to the dark room, and you can maybe tackle the dark room, maybe your stats are good, but as soon as you enter that double adversary room, you don't stand a chance. There's a very good chance, if they do a certain subset of attacks they have, is that you're gonna take damage, and there's really no way to go around that. So having a way to block that damage with the Book of Shadows circumvents that and just gives you like a second chance against certain enemies or certain rooms which you wouldn't really be able to dodge otherwise. And I really think that potential, or maybe just that ability to do that, just kind of ignore all damage with the space of a button for a few seconds, is what makes this item great. And whenever I see it on a daily run, I just immediately pick it up. Something that I mentioned in one of my previous videos is that because it's a 3-room charge, it makes it kind of awkward to use in boss rush, because essentially one charge, or maybe when you use it once, you get 2 charges, and then you overfill for 1, and that 1 overcharge isn't actually stored anywhere, which means that essentially this is an item that you can use every 2 charges instead of every charge. And if you have something like the battery, which essentially doubles how many charges you can have, so you can have 6 charges in total, that makes it much more usable and much more user-friendly. But nevertheless, like I said before, if you do have an orbital, you can use it quite effectively at the end of the wave and maybe kill 1 or even 2 bosses with it without too much of a hassle to yourself. Besides this run also went in a pretty good direction at the start. So of course, because we're Lazarus, we were looking for a way to actually kill ourselves. And there's always that question, when do I kill myself to kind of maximize my chances, or maybe maximize my DPS without having to wait too long? Because there's really no reason why you wouldn't kill yourself, unless maybe you know that there's a really good devil deal coming up and you want to trade your red hearts away. In this case, I got hit against the Widow, the Widow on the 2nd floor, and for some reason the Widow is kind of causing me some troubles lately due to mainly her distance of her jumps. I kind of maybe underestimate just how far she can jump, and then she ends up getting me, and because of that I miss the Devil Deal. And of course at that point maybe the ideal play would be that you can go in the Devil Deal room, you take some Devil Deals, and then you respawn as Lazarus 2, or maybe just improved Lazarus, as soon as you take those items. And when you do that, that's probably the dream scenario, but sometimes it doesn't work out. Like in today's daily, like I said, I didn't get any Devil Deal, so I had a decision to make. Because there was an HP up, I thought this was probably the perfect opportunity to actually sacrifice myself, because I didn't get any items which essentially powered me up, so having some more damage, just overall some more DPS and some speed from Lazarus 2 when I respawn will probably be useful for the next floor. So I decided to go to the sacrifice room, just kind of kill myself there, and then pick up the HP up. And at the end I was at 2 HP, which I think is kind of the perfect amount you want to be at if you want to pick up Devil Deals, because most Devil Deals either come in 1s or 2s, and if you get 2 items, there's a very good chance, or maybe it's much more likely, that one of those will be a 1 heart deal and the second one will be a 2 heart deal, which means that with 2 hearts you can take them both. So that maybe was a bit convoluted, but nevertheless you can see that so far my strategy, so to say, has worked out, and thankfully this run did reward us for just being kind of short, I guess. Whenever you have a short run, it's really a bummer when you have a really strong run. You kind of have to finish it prematurely, and this is something that kind of happened today. We got Spoonbender and Brimstone and Tech Point 5, and for some reason, not for some reason, but the beam items like Brimstone technologies and things like that synergize so well with Spoonbender. I honestly say that I never get tired of seeing that purple Brimstone kind of curve around and just hitting so many enemies in the room and damaging them all at the same time. It's probably one of the most satisfying feelings in the game. And when you can kind of combine that with another technology items, in this case we have 2 of them, it's really like a blast of just a ton of damage. Even though our stats aren't that great, we were still able to actually deal with enemies, just because we don't really have to stay in a straight line to shoot them. Usually when you take damage, it's because enemies maybe shoot too fast, or maybe because there's a lot of them, but with this combination with Spoodbender and some other beam items, we don't really have to be in their direct line of fire to actually hit them. Besides it looking cool, it's also a very safe way to actually deal damage to them. And Spoonbender is one of those items that seems very underwhelming maybe when you first pick it up, but it does synergize so well with a ton of different items that it just makes it, you're really happy when you see it, you know. And I really like items like that just work more on flavor and not maybe raw DPS or maybe raw stats, and it's indeed a very unique effect up until this point. We also got the rune bag early on, and the rune bag is usually a very good tell, or maybe you're very happy to get it in a run that goes to Mom, because eventually if you do all of the floors, there's a good chance you might get an AWAS rune, and with an AWAS rune, of course, you can go and do 1 more floor, and that's just a ton of points in general, and when you can afford that, you can kind of guarantee on just being placed really well and just getting a ton of score. Sadly, what happened in this daily, maybe not sadly, but we did get an AWAS rune and we had a teleport card, and usually what you want to stick with is a teleport card so you can get out of boss rush and then do the sacrifice room. In this daily, luckily I made the right decision because there was yet another teleport card because I picked up the AWAS rune, and I thought, you know, if there is no sacrifice room, I probably want to keep my AWAS rune so I can do 1 more floor and not go to the dark room immediately. So I picked up the AWAS rune, I came to the Mom floor, and then I got a Yarrow rune, and that's great because that means we can duplicate our AWAS runes, and you can see me kind of exploring the whole floor here in hopes maybe of getting another AWAS rune, or maybe in hopes of getting another Yarrow rune so I can duplicate them again, even though you can only hold 2 at once, so we can use 1 on this floor and then take the second one to the second floor. There's always a chance that this happens, you know, that we get a crawl space, and when that happens that's kind of a bummer, but at least because we duplicated them, we have another shot of using the other AWAS rune to get a normal floor so we can get to the womb 1, and then maybe we get lucky there and maybe there's a sacrifice rune there, or maybe we can get another AWAS rune drop. But of course, because RNG gods are not kind today, we got another crawl space, so 2 crawl spaces in 1, and I believe chance for a crawl space is something like 8%, so having 2 of them at the same time is quite rare, but because the AWAS runes are seeded, probably everyone came upon the same fate, so even though we didn't really go far, didn't find the seam, didn't break the game, we were ranked rather well in the 65th place. I did take quite a bit of dumb damage, but thankfully, because this does only go to Mom, and because your damage scales with your exploration bonus, it isn't too high all in all, but nevertheless I wish that I didn't take damage against a few of those super troll bombs which kinda hunted me down and just damaged me. Of course, my speed is my ultimate enemy, and I was really slow in this run, and the fact I was 2500 in my speed or in my time ranking just proves that. And all of the rest I think is pretty decent. Our Shrek bonus was okay, at least for where we went to. Our time penalty was horrible, that's I already mentioned that, and our item penalty was maybe a bit on the higher side, but we did get quite some nice crazy combinations that made it a bit easier and just much more fun to play. All in all, a decent run. I did enjoy that it was a bit shorter than maybe usual, because having 1 hour long runs every single day does kind of tire you out, and today, you know, it's just like a resting day, just an easy daily, which we went through. We enjoy our brimstone and homing shots, and I hope that maybe soon there will be some really difficult dailies so we can kind of challenge ourselves. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I hope to see you next time.